Tonight on the live stream of consciousness, I will be talking to Samantha Leah, the creator of Goddess Pop. Hey, hello. You made it. I know you made it because I made it. I'm here. You're there. We both made it together. We're here at this moment. You're familiar with what that is. Welcome. If you're not familiar, welcome as well. It's the live stream of consciousness. It's my happy place where I get to bring on a guest and just have a wonderful conversation about what consciousness is. And then I get to turn my focus on my guest and let them share their space and who they are and show us their gifts, because I think everybody's got something to share. And I love being able to connect the collective one at a time by doing this. This has just become such a great place. I see Ninja Kitty out there. What's up? The Quiet Healers out there. How you doing? Good to see you guys. Thanks for coming. As I said before the intro, I tried something new. I like the idea of this kind of pre-intro psych up of who's going to be on the show. I'm going to be talking to Samantha Leah tonight, who is a returning guest to the live stream of consciousness. I'm excited about that too, because we always talk about, oh, we've got to have you back on the show. And now we're having Samantha back. It's a different show. It's a different river. I love this saying of you can't step in the same river twice, because the water's always flowing through that river. And even though it might be in the same place and you're physically walking through the same river, seemingly so, it's not exactly the same river. And that's the same with us. I'm not the same person I was the last time I spoke to Samantha. She's not the same person who spoke to us. So it's exciting to reconnect, as humans and as creators, and just to have a wonderful moment. So I'm going to stop babbling like I usually start to do when I'm doing these intros. And I'm going to bring on my guest. Welcome to the live stream, Samantha Leah.
Hello.
Hello. What's happening?
Oh, man. Life is happening.
It's a loaded question, right? There's always,
Yes.
always something happening. I want to give a quick shout out to the Spiritual Billionaires, because I think that's what inspired me to kind of say, hey, you know what? I've been wanting Samantha back on the show. And I saw that there was recently a gathering out in California. There was some cool video that we're going to share, and it just reminded me, hey, that's what the live stream was so cool to me about, is that I get to reach out to people who I want to talk to and have them on my show and have a conversation and just like create an intentional moment.
I love it.
So we have Ninja Kitty saying welcome.
Hello.
And everyone out there, Jilly saying hello, everyone. Where have Tim and Jilly been? Yeah, where is Tim? I didn't see Tim today. Tim's usually first one saying hola. He's in Brazil. He's like hola.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I love that international flavor.
Yes. And it was so cool actually to have everybody that typically is on the East Coast out on the West Coast.
That is cool too.
Different.
Yeah. It looked like a beautiful place. I definitely want to talk more about that, but I want to get through the live stream of consciousness business, which applies to what I was just saying. Because you've answered the question about consciousness and what is consciousness, but it was a different you. It was a different time. So let's hear what you have to say. We'll be able to cut this up into sound bites. And what is consciousness?
It's funny because I remember you asked me that, and I definitely remember being like, oh God, I don't know. And I have no idea what I said. So that's funny. What is consciousness? Consciousness is everything. It's the driving force. It's the unknowable, the unnamed. Maybe I said that last time. I don't
I
know.
think you did. I think that
That's
is.
so interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Consciousness, I feel like, can be perceived very differently by everybody.
Absolutely.
But to me, what it is it's the animating force, the force that animates. I guess that's what came to me. I don't think I said that last time.
You definitely didn't say that last time. And that's interesting because sometimes I think, and I feel and hear exactly what you're saying, and I know exactly what you mean by it. But sometimes I feel like, and we've talked about here, that consciousness comes in other forms, right? So I had author Lori Ladd on, who wrote this book called The Divine Design.
I love her.
Yeah, and it was amazing to talk to her. But we were talking about consciousness, and we were talking about the fact that she channeled this book, right, and she put it down on paper. And when I was reading that book, I didn't feel like I was reading it. I felt like I was connecting to it. I felt like, it was definitely, it just didn't feel like reading,
Right.
and I posed the question. I'm like, perhaps you created a consciousness with that book, because you've put your thoughts and words, because in the book it talks about how reality was created by just thoughts, and boom, and there it
Right.
was. So I'm like, well, you created this consciousness, and in this form of this book. And so there's no animation in the book, is what my point was. Like, it's like,
Right.
it can be non-animated too, consciousness. I think it exists in other forms, right? I mean, you said it's everything, and when you say that, I shake my head yes, because I feel like consciousness is even right here in the space around me, right?
Right.
So, and that's not necessarily animated, but
Well, I feel like words are hard, because I feel like even the definition of animated can be questioned, because people, I feel like if you talked to an old sage, they would say a tree is animated with life force energy. But obviously, when you look at a tree, you don't see it like moving around.
Right.
I mean, unless the wind is blowing on it, but you know what I mean? It's not like talking to you. So I feel as though when you get to a certain state of consciousness, you do see everything, even inanimate objects, as animated.
Yes, totally. I agree with that. And that's kind of what I was saying to Lori. It was like,
Right.
wow. And I was realizing in the moment when I was talking to her that that's what it was, that it was its own consciousness. And something also, on a side note, you made me think of when you talked about trees and how trees are actually animated. I always thought that, like, especially if you look at a time lapse, right? You see this whole motion, you see a growth from a seed. And so to me, trees were always these beings that existed in a different time dimension than us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it was just a whole different thing. So that's a cool connection there. I like that. Awesome.
Love trees.
Awesome. Yes. Awesome. So excellent. That's a wonderful answer about consciousness. See, it's like it
That was
hits you,
cool.
that the question hits you, you're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do?
I
But
don't know.
it just comes out because
Right.
it's there, right? It's so
Right.
I love the conversations about all of this stuff. So that's why I always ask it, and I just love what comes back out at me. So
Yeah, and I love just being asked questions in the moment that I couldn't have contemplated in advance. Obviously, it's pressure,
right.
and I know that some people don't like that sort of situation, but I feel like it just brings out it gives you access to a different part of you.
Brilliant. Absolutely. I always say you don't grow outside of your comfort zone,
Yes.
and that's what it is. It's just momentary, it's just it's painless. It's like, oh wow, that almost felt good, right? To like
Yes.
go into that place and find that answer and say it out loud, all of that stuff. That's awesome.
Yes.
I love that. Awesome. All right. Well, we're almost done with the work part of this. But this part is fun too, because you get to tell a story, and it may or may not be the same story, but my question is always asking people if there's a moment that they can remember that they realized that there was something other than what they've been taught in school and taught. I could say taught at home on a day-to-day basis, but I know your dad is very spiritual, so he may have been teaching you some of these things, even inadvertently. But can you tell us when you kind of everything made sense? Like, oh wow, there is something.
That is an interesting question for me because I kind of was there for my dad's awakening journey. Shout out my dad.
Let's shout out Marty. Yeah, I mean, actually, the Spiritual Billionaires. Back to the Spiritual Billionaires. That's where I met Marty at a gathering that Karen was putting on. I think it was actually the very first Spiritual Billionaires meeting, and Marty was just such an amazing guy. And I love kind of the story of you and I, because I encountered you totally separately on the internet, just kind of showing up on my feed, and I was just like, I immediately knew, Samantha, I don't think I said this to you, but you were a frequency. You were like this vibration that I could just easily I was just like, whoa, I get this. I totally feel what she's saying. And it was totally not, I mean, your music was not the style of music that I would normally listen to, but man, I loved it. I was just like, this is so good, this music. And, I was just so connected to it. So anyway, shout out to Marty, shout out to the Billionaire, shout out to the vibe.
Shout out to just the fact that we're all connected, because I remember you putting 2 and 2 together. You were like, wait, is that your dad? And I was like, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So cool. So cool.
Yeah. So my dad, he wasn't always like that. He had his own journey, and he had his awakening journey, I'm sure a couple years before this, but around the time that I was like 14, 15 is when he was really getting into stuff and actually going to workshops. And he took me to a workshop, I think the first one when I was 15, which is crazy to think about now. But I feel like with that kind of experience and then going out into the world is a very interesting thing, because you hear all this stuff and you're like, wow, this is cool. I know stuff like law of attraction. Yeah. But then, I don't, if anyone knows who Abraham Hicks is, they say words don't teach. So I went out into the world and I was just like, really, it's like I knew that behind the scenes, I am the observer, but I didn't really fully know. I knew it conceptually, and life has taught me it by really living life, no longer conceptually, but action. Like I feel this now. Right. So it's hard to know exactly when. I feel like my journey has been just a consistent since then. And just having really hard experiences, learning how to perceive them differently, and it getting easier and easier to do that. I feel like that's when I really realized, like, oh, okay, I'm on the right track, because these, like, take, for instance, heartbreak. The first time your heart is broken, you think you're going to die. Right. But when you start to blend in the spiritual perspective of it and understanding, like, this is meant to be, but truly actually knowing that as heartbreak happens, and heartbreak doesn't have to be with just a romantic partner. Sure. Heartbreak could be losing friends, like losing family members, breaking contact with people. And I feel like as time has gone on, I've been able to see through my handling of those situations that I am really like understanding these concepts by living life and trusting the process, trusting myself, and trusting whatever you want to call that force. Right. Some people say universe, some people say God. Right. Some people say oneness. Yeah.
But it's all the same, right?
Right.
That's one thing I love about that, is once you kind of come to that realization, because I struggled with the word God for a long time.
I was just talking about that.
Yeah. And it was because in my eyes, the word had been personified,
Yes.
like, and it was just, it had such a connection to organized religion that
Mm-hmm.
was just kind of like the, what I thought was the wrong perception of what it was. So I would always replace it in my head with the word universe when someone would say it, just to make it okay with
Me
me.
too.
Yeah,
Me
yeah.
too.
And it made it okay. But then I realized, I was like, wait, God is the universe. So like,
Right.
what's the big deal? You could say the word, you just have to understand that some people are saying the word from that other perspective.
Yeah. And
You
just
know?
accepting that people view that one force in whatever way they view it in, and
Right.
who doesn't, who cares? Like,
Right,
do
right.
your
Well,
thing.
especially if it gives them comfort, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's a place, if it's something that they're hiding behind, that's a different story. But if
Right.
it's, if it's something that gives them comfort and faith, then
Yes.
the word faith makes sense. That was the other word that I really struggled with,
Mm.
because it was so connected to organized religion. But when I realized it was just understand believing that there was something you didn't know and you were cool with it, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, there's stuff I don't know, that's cool,
Right.
and that and it's part of what is consciousness. So
Yep.
awesome. So um okay, that's totally fair.
That's
It's
a hard question to answer. I'm sorry.
well,
I
some people have specific stories of,
yes.
I spoke to my grandmother, you know what I mean, and I
Mm-hmm.
realized that there was this presence after, something bigger than what we've been taught, that whole
Yes.
thing. So, but again, I almost imagined, kind of growing up in the household, and I didn't know Marty's journey was actually not super recent, but I mean,
Yeah, like he wasn't like, he was just this guy in
right.
Brooklyn, like super in the Matrix. He'll be the
Right,
first
right,
person to
right,
tell you
right,
that.
right. Super
Yeah.
matrix. Yeah. I'm always really amazed. I was just talking about this. When I hear stories about people who are so far from what they are now that I can't even imagine it. Like, people who are like, oh yeah, I used to knock people out and get in fights and not even think twice about it. And I'm just like, I can't even imagine you getting
That's
angry."
literally him.
Yeah.
That's 100% him.
Yeah, yeah.
Completely different.
And I think sometimes that's part of their journey, is like you got to go through that darkness
Mm.
to find the light,
Yep.
which, at that point when you find it, you're grateful for it. You're not like, oh man, you're just kind of grateful for where you're at.
It's like our whole experience here in general, being a human. Like, we're
Exactly.
here experiencing darkness, and it makes us appreciate the light so much more.
Exactly. Totally. So, okay, well, it's time to open up the floor to talk about Samantha Leah and what you're doing. Again, I totally love what you're doing because to me, it's authenticity, which is also a word that the universe has been, saying to me over and over this year, especially, and it is an important word because I think it's so easy to recognize, and it's easy to recognize when it's not there, and I think
Mm.
people are having to become more accountable for their own authenticity,
That's like
uh,
my favorite word.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. I'm trying to think if there's a recent song I heard with the word in it, or will that probably be coming.
I'm gonna
um
write that word down. Maybe I'll make a
yeah,
song with
there you
that
go.
that song in the title.
Authenticity. It's got this
Mm,
cadence to it. Authenticity,
good word.
I love it. That's great. So I guess you coined the term, and it's perfect. Goddess pop. Tell us about that.
Yes. This is super new. I had the idea, I don't know, maybe I'm so out of the loop with time. It could have been a week ago, it could have been 5 months ago. But no, I think I had that idea maybe 2 months ago ish. And
Mhm.
word of the year.
Yeah,
I love
she's
that.
got she she's got she get Jilly gave me one of these. This one says just show up. And it's
Mm.
definitely something I live by, and hers is authenticity.
Oh, I love it.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you
Oh
there.
no, like we'll have to tag her when I come out with a song called Authenticity.
Yes.
um yeah, so Goddess popped came into my head, and I was like, the feelings of unworthiness come up because it's like I can't coin the name of a genre. But then I was like, yes I can.
Yes, you can.
Because I find it really hard to explain my music to people.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
And there is actually a new genre that's being created right now called high vibe.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's I'm seeing the beginnings of it, and I'm in the pool of those artists, and there's other artists doing it, and it's becoming, even a keyword on Spotify, a keyword on social media platforms.
I love it.
It's an amazing time, like, to be a creative who wants to make this sort of high vibrational, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be just music, because people are waking up and they want more aligned art.
Yes, Venus Starshine says that's great. Create a genre. Yes, you can. You absolutely. And what's cool is, like, once you hear Samantha and that authenticity I'm talking about, you'll be like, well, yeah, that's no shit. that's what it is, And I agree with you also. Like, I think there are artists that like visual artists like Alex Gray, who are called visionary artists because they're able to express their spirituality, but through words and poetry and art. Now it's coming out in music. People are actually doing it. So Jilly's asking if you coined it via dictionary. I don't know what that means, but
well, I actually have to, like, do something about copyright. I'm really bad with see, I'm so I am left-brained as well, but with stuff like that, I'm just like, I don't feel like it. Like, I literally went onto the government website to see, like, what you would have, and I just look at it and I'm like, was this like, did they make this website in the 1800s, even though there's clearly no internet then? But, like, what? Like, I feel like I'm
I agree. So, even the IRS and all of those websites, they're so
it looks like use. All that. I'm like, this is not user friendly at all.
Right.
But I will get there, because I do want to coin, like, I want to actually, like, make it something, because I just feel like it has a lot of potential as a, I would say, subgenre of this high vibe genre. So I'm gonna do that. Cool.
Awesome. You definitely should. I feel like somebody may have said it, but you are not just saying it as like a catchphrase. You're like, that's describing you. Venus is saying, how do you create a goddess pop instruments? That's a great question. I totally want to talk about that, because, as I said, it wasn't really the first stuff that I heard was very heavily like R&B kind of urban culture.
Yes.
You would think of city music or the club scene.
Yes.
Which is interesting too. I want to talk about that, because I don't think you like actually hang out in the clubs. You're not like a club girl.
I mean, I'm wearing a third eye hat.
No. Oh, speaking of which, shout out to that hat. I've been wanting to say that. I noticed the hat. I'm like, oh, look at that third eye hat.
I'm kind of catching a glimpse of it, and I'm like, oh my god, like, maybe I shouldn't have worn this. It's very like distracting.
That's perfect. It's perfect. What distinguishes it? Also, Jilly's asking. So excellent. Kind of little segue. I'm going to put you and me on the side. We can actually talk, but I'm going to be quiet for a bit. I want to play your most. Is this the most recent song? The Manifesting Magic video we're going to play?
It's not the most recent song, but I would say that it's a song that began this whole goddess pop journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, folks, here it is. I'm hoping YouTube has no problems with me playing this. But enjoy. And if you feel like commenting, Samantha, like any, this is what happened, police officer was walking by or something. All right, here we go. Manifesting Magic.
Abundance flows to me when I get out of my own way. Life is so easy when I focus on what is great. I am worthy of reciprocated energy. I am worthy of a love that loves as deep as me. I am worthy of aligning with my higher self. I am worthy of desiring miracles and health. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Building a life I've only seen in my dreams. Knowing the things I want to come into me. Trusting the process will bring me what I need. Manifest magic. Success Happiness belongs to me when I am in my happy place. I forgive with ease when I open up my heart space. I am worthy of healing my trauma. I am worthy of releasing karma. I am worthy of aligning with my highest goals. I am worthy of desiring goodness for my soul. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Building a life I've only seen in my dreams. Knowing the things I wanna come into me. Trusting the process will bring me what I need. Manifest magic.
And it's really important that we start to understand that we are here for a divine purpose. We're not here to struggle anymore. We are here to be free. We're here to express our creativity, to be grateful for these bodies that our soul is housed in temporarily. It's time for us to truly express our divinity and to step into our power and know that we are worthy of living our dream life.
Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Building a life I've only seen in my dreams. Knowing the things I wanna come into me. Trusting the process will bring me what I need. Manifest magic.
Nice. Awesome. Oh, Gay's out there. What's up, Gay? Good to see ya. Hello. It's so funny because when I met Gay at the first Spiritual Billionaires, and we talked about an idea I had back then called Channel Zen, which was going to be a channel of all this kind of content. And then, and now here I am creating this content. I've got a couple of different shows that I'm kind of like, I've helped people start. So it's like
amazing. Living your
awesome.
dreams.
I love it.
Living what you spoke.
Amazing music. Julie says she loves the voiceover, and again, it's got that kind of R&B urban roots to it. But I also, another thing I noticed, and here we are. You rock, MZ. What's up, Gay? I feel like there's this global element to it. In other words, I don't think anyone would know what ethnicity you were, you know what I mean? Like, it could be Latin, it could be African American. It's like it's music, you know what I mean? There's so many different roots where music comes from. And I think it's a good opportunity to talk about how you create the music, because I know I've seen, from what I've seen, and there may be more to it, you work with different producers.
Right.
So you come up with these vocal lines, you sing them and you record them, and then you send them to various producers that you work with, and they put the music over it. So anything, I think the clip I want to play is that particular song. So is there anything you want to say about this clip before I play it?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly how I work. I work with mostly people remote, and I like creating my own melodies out of thin air sometimes, maybe using a little bit of a bass line sound or a little bit of a guitar. I like the other way too, because sometimes you'll work with producers and they'll make an entire sketch of an instrumental for you. But there are limitations with that, because there's obviously already a kind of this flow to it, these melodies in there. I like creating my own melodies, just like with my mind, like, or really, I mean, with consciousness.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. So the clip I'm going to play is an example of what you would send to your producer and then what he did with it. So before I play that, in my mind, because I saw the clip and we had a comment about the nice melodies, great melody riffs, and as a musician who, or somebody who kind of understands music a little bit even, um I was really surprised at what he did with what you sent him, because you kind of sent him this thing. It was kind of like this, but then he just kind of went with the rhythms. He went boom, boom, boom. He kind of went all over the place. Were you surprised when you got that back, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always just amazed by when you really connect with someone that you trust creatively, which actually is really hard when you're a creative. You're giving, you're putting the creativity into the hands of somebody else, and you don't know what's going to happen. But I think when you build that connection and that trust, even if at first you're kind of like, whoa, that's not what I heard in my head. I think that if you and that person are in alignment, then you kind of, you being surprised by something doesn't mean that you don't like it.
Right. Oh no, yeah, that's how I meant. Like, it's almost like you've created this and he created this, and together it's this.
Yeah, it's like you feel with the person. Honestly,
yeah,
energetically, you really do.
Yeah, totally. So let me play this. It's a quick clip, but I think you guys will get the point.
Manifesting magic. Manifesting magic. Manifesting magic. Manifesting magic. Manifesting magic. Manifesting magic.
Yeah, so cool. I was like, wow, like I couldn't even imagine what he was thinking. You know what I mean? But
right.
And that's,
I think also he knows the stuff that I like. He knows my style. It takes a long time to build a relationship with someone. It doesn't have to. I'm going to delete that belief system from my mind right now.
Okay.
Because it doesn't have to take a long time. But sometimes it can take a long time for someone to really understand what your vibe is, especially when it doesn't really make sense. Like it's hard for me to reference other artists that I am inspired by. I'm inspired by so many artists, but it's hard to be like, okay, yeah, I know that I want to make a song that sounds like this song. That's just not how I work. And it's really hard to be confined in that box. So sometimes it takes longer for a person to know what I like just by trying things out. And I feel like at that point, we knew each other so well, and he knew what I liked so well. Like that bouncy sound, and those fun little, like I
love all that.
I love that. I love that. So like I feel like even though I didn't expect that,
right?
I mean, how can you ever expect what you get?
Right. Totally. Love that instantaneous automatic self-analysis.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, we love it. Yeah, I agree with you. For me, I love music that makes you think about the spaces. You know what I mean? It's like don't, and then it's like, oh wait, is this down? It's like you're thinking. It really brings it together. Really, really, really good job. And I think you've been blessed with the different producers that you work with. I don't know who's who, but I think you come through. You know what I mean? Your authenticity definitely comes through. On all your material, and it's great. It's just so I definitely, it makes me feel good again, because I feel like it's almost like this vicarious connection to source through you, right? You have your own connection to source. I have my own connection to source, but it's like I can see you and I can be like, oh, she's connected to source, and I can kind of like feel it for a second. You know what I mean? It's like
that's such a cool perspective.
Yeah,
wow.
it is really cool. I think that's, thank you. I think that's cool. And I just came up with it. It just came out. It's great. And you know what I was going to say, that reminds me that what I wanted to say about the lyrics. I love that you made that a lyric video, because it's almost got this Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks feel, to what you're saying and what your message is.
Yeah, a lot of this new high vibrational music that is definitely in the underground stages, but is becoming more mainstream. There's a lot of affirmation music coming out, and that's definitely a part of the whole goddess pop idea.
Awesome.
Is sticking those affirmations in there, because music is so powerful, and obviously a lot of the mainstream music is not very empowering lyrically. And when you're singing along with that, you don't realize what you're doing. Like you are singing lyrics that maybe are not in your best favor, in your highest favor. So the whole idea of it is to write lyrics that help people feel empowered when they sing along with them, or just hear it and dance to it.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, it's so through your music, it's a similar feel to, something like a Karen Garvey weekend.
Exactly.
Where you're talking to people and expressing these thoughts and just like, oh, wait a second. I get it. I feel it. I never thought of that. You know what I mean? Like,
it's just another way of having that information come to you and vibing with that information. It's like you can listen to a podcast about consciousness. You can listen to this conversation and you can take in information and be just like, wow, this is all such cool stuff. Like I feel empowered right now through this conversation. You can listen to people, you can read books, you could go to seminars, workshops, and it's just another way of giving that opportunity to people. Like, well, maybe I want to sing along with my affirmations.
Absolutely. Oh my God, that's such a great that's a great perspective. I love that, and it's just so cool. I think as a creator, and for you too, because not just through your words and music, you also now have a visual aspect of being a performer, and you can do things like that. That video was just you at the park doing yoga. There was one shot, you know what I mean, of just you doing yoga, and anyone who's a video maker would notice that, but most people won't even really notice that because it's like, oh, okay, and it's just so cool. You have somebody stopping by saying, hey all, Melissa Amy Clewarda. I love trying to say people's last name. What's up, Melissa? Welcome to the live stream. I haven't seen you out there before, so welcome. If you are on YouTube, no, you're on Facebook. If you go to YouTube and subscribe, I will ring my bell. I have a bell.
Yes.
When new people come and they say, oh, I subscribed, I ring it, just because, I don't know, it's something to get people to subscribe, and it's something to make this connection happen. It's real, you know what I mean?
I love that.
So yeah, I love this platform. So you were talking about earlier something that's a good segue for me, and I hope you don't mind playing some more of your content. I just love listening to it, and especially listening to it with you right there. That's just so cool. That's such a cool experience. But you need the channel. It's The Live Stream of Consciousness. Just YouTube at The Live Stream of Consciousness. I gotta get my bell ready. Oh, it's right there. Okay. I gotta keep on my word. You know what I mean? So I was just looking through some of your stuff, and I came across this song, and man, it just hit me. I'm a little bit older, and I lived through the disco age, and it just like I was listening to it and I was like, okay, cool, Samantha Leah song, but then you get to the chorus and it's just like you're just taken back totally,
I know what you're talking about.
instantly. So I hope you guys out there are enjoying this cool new aspect to the show where I have actually entertainment going. But what's the name of this song?
Dance All Night.
Dance All Night.
Yeah.
Here we go.
You show me something different, baby. I knew it from the start. You touched me in the deepest places, and not just in my heart. I'm feeling you. Bring me to the dance floor. Let us show 'em what we got. Do what you do. Might not last forever, but you know you get me high. There was a time that we were in love, but we both know that our time was up. And although I cannot give you my trust, we can have fun. I really wanna dance all night until the sun is coming up. Dance all night 'cause I can never get enough. We don't have to act like we are still in love. Dance all night 'cause we can get it done. will laugh about this moment, and I do it again. I'm feeling you. Bring me to the dance floor. Let us show 'em what we got. Do what you do. Might not last forever, but you know you get me high. There was a time that we were in love, but we both know that our time was up. And although I cannot give you my trust, we can have fun. I really wanna dance all night until the sun is coming up. Dance all night 'cause I can never get enough. We don't have to act like we are still in love. Dance all night 'cause we can get it done. We get it. There was a time that we were in love, but we both know that our time was up. And although I cannot give you my trust, we can have dance all night until the sun is coming up. Dance all night 'cause I can never get enough. We don't have to act like we are still in love. Dance all night 'cause we can get it done. We can have fun. We can have fun. We can have fun. Let's get it done. We can have fun. We can have fun. We can have fun. Let's get it done.
Nice. So that actually, I didn't even think of that Cyndi Lauperish comment.
Yeah, I've
in
gotten
there.
that. I'm like,
But I saw that. So
thank you.
yeah, there's so much influence in there of like all different genres, and it's all super like high vibe. It really is. It's like, I mean, and even in the video, I make videos too, and it's so much fun, and you look like you're having so much fun. I mean, simple stuff, but amazing footage, and I'm getting some 80s Madonna. Yeah, I can hear a little bit of that. I heard actually a little bit older. I think the first time the chorus comes in, I heard more like the old school divas from disco, like Gloria Gaynor and Donna Summer, and like 70s more stuff. But
Donna Summer, definitely. My mom loves Donna Summer.
Really amazing, and I think also shows a nice diversity in music in general. Just having all of those different. So that was a different producer altogether.
No, so that
Same
was
guy.
the same person,
Okay.
and so that's one of my producers. I went to Spain, and the funny thing about that music video is the videographer didn't speak any English, and I don't speak any Spanish, and it was like 6 a.m, and it was just
what a great
really funny.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah,
what a
like
great experience. Oh my God. And to have a
so cool.
video to show for it, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that was, oh my God, that area is so beautiful, and it was just a magical experience.
So tell us the story. How did you end up in Spain?
Well, so this is someone that I don't have many producers I work with. Like, I'm very, it's just a lot to work with someone. It's, again, like I was saying before, they really have to start to learn you, and that takes time. So at this time, I think we'd been working together for like 2 years, and we decided, like, why don't we make an album? Like, why don't you actually come here? He lives in Spain.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And it's funny because I actually want to say this. You were referencing how I was doing a lot of R&B urban stuff before. And I came there planning on doing, and music is a universal language. I just want to say to that really fast, like, I work with mostly, I haven't worked with anyone from the US in, I don't even know how long, like a long time. I love working with people from different cultures, different places. I was working with someone in Tanzania for a while. Like, I love that. Like,
That's cool.
even if I don't know the language with music, like I still like listening to music from different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so we were going there for me to do like an alternative R&B album.
Okay.
And then I don't know how it happened, but basically we started talking about doing more of like a pop thing and more of like disco pop, some of the songs.
Right.
And that song was like the main attraction of that experience, because I was like, wow, I can't believe I did something like this. I've always wanted to do like a bassline prominent song. And now that I've done that song, there's definitely going to be more of that style.
Oh,
so
you like that? Cool.
Like that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, not all of it, because I just cannot. I can't stick to one sound. It just I don't know how people do that.
Right.
It just
You
I
think
can't
that's
do it.
a bit of an homage to Marty?
Right. I mean, he came here and he was here. I think that was like 7 months ago, and we actually worked on some stuff where he threw down the bass, and he hadn't played in a while, and it was just so cool. I was like, man, cool. Bassline stuff is just
I'm a bass player too, so I get it.
Oh
And
my
that
God, did I know that? I don't know if I knew that.
I might have mentioned it last time.
I knew you were
when
an
you talked about
instrumentalist.
Yeah. But anyway, that bass line on that song was that same thing that makes you, it's like, you know, makes you think about the space in between, and you just, you know, it just kind of brings you right in there. You're just like, wait, okay, what? You know, it's very cool.
So fun. Just so fun. Nice. I think also that song has taught me that, you know, I'm so focused on wanting to help people with a message. And usually for me, that comes through lyrics. But that song has taught me that music can still feel good and be high vibrational. And maybe the lyrics don't say like, I am worthy of healing my trauma.
Right.
Yeah, so that was a cool experience.
Still same. It's a whole vibe thing. Venus is a bass player too. What's up, Venus?
Yes,
bass player is awesome. I mean, you know, I feel pretty fortunate to have been able to experience different ways to express myself, visual arts and music. You know, it's just such a cool thing, and I can remember, you know, kind of going through phases. I don't play a lot of bass these days, but I just definitely remember connecting to it and not even realizing, kind of when I was younger. I mean, I was playing in bands, so I was playing with my best friend. Probably I'd go over to his house at least 5 nights a week, you know, play, and I didn't realize that I was channeling source back then. You know what I mean? Like I looked back and I'm like, oh my God, that's why it made me so happy. That's why I loved it so much. That's why I felt connected to it, because it really is a way that source comes through you, you know.
Creativity. And creativity takes so many forms too, because I know people say to me like, oh, I'm not creative, like I'm not an artist. Like, you don't have to be an artist to be creative. Like, literally, if you go into your kitchen and organize stuff like in different places,
cooking
that's
is totally an art. Cooking is totally an art. Massage is totally an art. You know, I mean, totally. I agree with you. I think there is an art to everything, and it's kind of funny. I've been using that lately in the AI argument. I don't know if we even want to go start talking about AI, but
part two,
you know, but there's a lot of pushback, right, in the artistic community against AI, and I'm just like, AI is just a different art form, you know. Like there's an art form to getting good results from AI. I can play with AI and get stuff out, you know, that seems like it might be good, but to get really good results, you know. And so that's my argument.
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly have my reservations about it in some ways. I try to. It's a challenge these days to not give into some fear and dark thoughts, right? Because of all of the stuff that's going on in the outside world. And I try to stay away from that stuff in this show, but it came up a couple of weeks ago. I had a transgender person on, a woman who I love her story. I love what she's about, but it was like right after the shooting had happened, and you know, it's so tense and it's so difficult, but we do have to acknowledge that stuff, right?
Yes.
but it's hard, especially when you're spiritual and you believe how powerful thoughts are. You don't even want to start thinking about that stuff, right? Like you earlier, you were like, delete. I'm,
Right.
I do get along with people quickly. It doesn't take a long time.
Changing the algorithm.
Right, change it, right, and I totally, subscribe to those beliefs. Um, and we know also from the spiritual journey that it's all about going within, right? It doesn't matter what's out here, it's really what's inside that's important. But the truth of the matter is we are still our 3D in these human bodies, and we have to coexist with all of these forces. And I've recently kind of come to terms with good and evil, right? And I you always hear about the battle of good and evil, and that's what's going on right now. It's the battle of good and evil. Well, the truth of the matter is nobody wins that battle. They both still have to exist in order for the whole
Duality.
to exist, right?
Right.
So it's just a matter of which side you want to swim on, and feel better on, and resonate with. And it's all kind of necessary. So again, I try to stay away from those dark thoughts, but again, I have to acknowledge them. They're over there.
Yeah.
I'm over here.
Well, also, I will say part of this genre of goddess pop is acknowledging that. And a lot, I'm at the beginning of this creation, but a lot of the music that I'm writing currently is acknowledging that there are things happening in my mind. I am judging people. I am being affected by the negativity in the world. Like, but how am I going to deal with it? And, some people say shadow work, words like shadow work, dark night of the soul, even dark feminine energy, which is a whole different topic. But like my song Kundalini Energy is definitely that type of thing where it's like, you'll notice it sounds pretty dark, but it's powerful. And that's kind of like the yin yang energy where it's like, you have.
What do you feel like is, I mean, I guess I definitely recognize the different vibe that song is. I didn't pull that one up, but what do you feel like is dark about it?
Not dark as in negative,
Right.
But if you even look
vampy?
at what?
A little more vampy, or
like it has more of an energy, this like sensual, like forceful seductress.
Right.
It's like a heavy bass in there, even the sounds that were chosen,
right.
The melodies, it just has, it doesn't, if you play that next to Manifesting Magic,
right,
you'll be like, whoa, Manifesting Magic is very light and bright,
dark and light. Right now I see now I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And I have a lot of that coming because I do acknowledge that I'm a human, and just pretending that life is great and bad things don't happen, that's not really like the message that I want to give to people, that like we don't go through things like, I want to acknowledge that, but I also want to acknowledge, okay, this is the trauma that I've experienced, but now how do I move through it?
Right.
And how do I move forward? Not pretend like, yeah, manifest magic. Like, who cares? Everything's fine.
Right. I love that. It's interesting that you're saying that, because I have a situation in my life. I was almost said I'm going through a situation, but delete. There's a situation that exists outside of me. It's somebody who I know who has a podcast. I admire him very much. I love the way he's able to talk to people. I love the way he gives people space. So I've kind of used him as a bit of an inspiration for myself. But he's very, very cynical. Right. Like super cynical. And so occasionally I'll be watching his show and I'll comment like, oh, you're feeling extra cynical today, just kind of making light of it. And he got really upset with me and basically told me to F off, and that I was being judgmental, and all I do is talk about kumbaya, and it's such BS. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, I do talk about kumbaya, and I do talk about love, and I do talk about being responsible for the energy that I'm going to create and put out in the world, because I know that's what's going to come back. And he just got really upset, and I was able to find humor in it in a way, like sad, like dissolve the friendship, but in a way I'm like, you're angry at me because I'm happy, like
and the thing is, like, that's not your, that's personal to him, and
right.
if you triggered him, that's not for you to figure out. And obviously it's difficult with relationships and the fact that we are humans with emotions,
right.
But yeah, I mean, why was, like, if I was him as like a conscious being, like, at some point you're going to have to ask yourself, why did that trigger me so much?
You would think, and you would hope, and I do hope. I think Venus is talking about you before, when you were talking about the Kundalini and the dark and the light. She said so smart. And then also
Balance.
The quiet healer balances everything. And that's where I'm at right now, is kind of realizing, like, I know what balance is, and I know I've been there. It's like, you're on that line. Oh, you're up. You fell off for a second. Oh, get back on. Oh, you fell off this way. And I'm trying to find that balance with the spiritual side of myself, and the knowledge that I resonate so deeply with, and then the three-dimensional side of myself that has to pay rent and have some sort of way to make money, and
right.
I think we're living in a great time that a lot of people are really able to find ways to make money with who they are and what their passion is. And I'm actually excited for you being on this show twice now, for when you're big and famous, and I can be like, oh, I had her on my show, and
I'll totally repost it in that moment.
Knew that they were there. Well, you should make a soundbite. Oh, I had her on my show.
Twice.
That's right, twice.
Hey, I'll jump on a third.
Awesome. I would definitely love to have you back here. It's the vibe, Samantha. It's so great to know that there are people out there who really do believe that, no matter what it seems like outside, the rain that's happening, that there's sun behind those clouds. It's just really, really great. I was at a cool fire dance event last night, and I was just there to document and kind of be a photographer, and I certainly wanted to grab some of those things and start playing and dancing around. But it was just great to be in that energy, with people who are, you go to an event like that, and there's not judgment happening. It's not like people are looking, at what your beer can is, which what's on your beer can or anything like that. You know what I mean?
And those places and those people, they truly exist. And I'm in LA, and there's a huge community. There's a bunch of communities, and you find where you fit in. But have you ever done ecstatic dance?
I haven't. I do want to. I've seen it. I know exactly what it is. And
amazing.
Yeah, I would love to experience that.
Highly recommend. There's an ecstatic dance LA, and
let's
one of them.
Let's hold on. Keep going. I'm gonna put your flyer up.
Yeah, one of them is on Venice Beach on Sundays, and literally it's a silent disco. So we have headphones on, but we're just on the beach with regular people, just sitting there, not having any idea. We just look like we're dancing to nothing.
Right. Everybody's listening to the same thing though, so everybody.
And there's a DJ right there.
Right.
And it's just like, it's in that moment. Like the other day I was there, and I just had a moment where I was like, wow, like, these people are not judging anyone. No one's judging them. And I feel that we just want more of that. I feel like when we acknowledge that and we see that, even with you saying like, wow, I love being able to have this conversation, and there's no judgment. We're able to talk about this stuff. And you're constantly talking to people who are open, obviously, to talking about otherworldly stuff. And I think that it's just really cool to acknowledge that this is possible now. Like, I feel a lot less alone now than I did.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. That's a great observation, and a great perspective to have. Interestingly enough that you say that, I have actually tried to have some people on the show intentionally. I had Flat Earth Dave on the show.
Wow.
So he's this, like, one of the main guys out there, right, that talks about flat Earth. And I personally don't believe in flat earth, but I do believe in the veil of reality, right?
Right.
So I wanted to find some common ground with him, and it was awesome. I was able to ask him, what his spiritual beliefs were, and he talked about he believes in a soul and all of these things. So it was really cool. Those are some cool sound bites.
So cool. It's like, even if we don't agree on,
yeah,
I feel like even when I was on the beach, just having a moment, observing everyone, I'm like, even if I had conversations with every single person on this beach right now, like, we would absolutely not agree on everything, because you're never going to agree on everything with every single person you meet. But it was just like, I know that I can have a conversation about spirituality and being open,
and not even worry that it would even probably get to that point where you're like, oh, wait a second, you feel differently than me,
right? Like,
oh, that's cool, let's talk about something else. What I mean? It's like, yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say something too, now I just forgot. Oh, damn. I wanted to give a chance to, you've been doing some performing, I guess, and people are seeing you live. You have an event coming up with in just a week from now, right? So you live in LA? Are you living out in LA?
Yep. I've jumped around a whole bunch in the
in
last few
the
years,
last
but
couple of years, yeah. You were in Spain, and you were in Hawaii for a while, right? I think. Yeah, Hawaii is one of my favorite places. So what's this event about? Let's talk about this for a moment.
So speaking of, I just love how this conversation is going into each thing so effortlessly and flowy, because speaking of conscious community, so this event is put on by someone who has become a really good friend of mine, and another person who has become a really good friend of mine, two amazing women who are also musicians and artists, and they just really wanted to hold events that brought people together that are like-minded and do want to listen to music together, and do even like ceremonies. I believe before this one, there's going to be a meditation where we all come together and we meditate, and you don't even have to go to that. You can come just to the dance. And, vendors, like you were talking about, people are now being able to create and make money off of it, and bringing together people who are, maybe selling crystals, and just having a community of people who are exactly like the ones that we have been talking about, just people that you can feel open with, non-judgmental. You can talk about aliens, you can talk about yoga, you can talk about
other
questioning
dimensions.
society, other dimensions. You can ask everyone there, what do you think consciousness is? And no one will answer the same, but you can ask everyone there, and they won't even be like, why are you asking me that? They'll be like, that's a good question. Like, so that is this sort of event, and I'm going to be performing at this event.
Awesome. And do you like the highlight, like headliner?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So one of the curators, she's also the headliner, and it's her birthday.
Nice.
And she's a DJ, and she also is a singer-songwriter, but she's an incredible producer and DJ, and she makes, I think she calls it mystic bass music. Like, there is some crazy stuff happening underground right now. Like,
it's awesome.
Super, like, her sets are just incredible. They weave together very spiritual stuff, but also very like tribal stuff.
Right.
And just really bringing together consciousness with music.
Cool. That's awesome. You know what? It's really empowering when it's authentic, that you come up with your own genre and you call yourself something, just because that's what you feel. You know what I mean? And and I guess I go back and forth on it. I don't specifically love when people necessarily would like change their name, especially if they do it over and over.
Right.
They're, no, I'm this person now. No, I'm this person now. I like when people find their authentic self. There's two things I want to talk about, because we're actually already kind of coming out of time here. One is something that you said earlier about singing lyrics and not even realizing, the energy behind those lyrics. And I just want to kind of just tell a story really quickly. And I think I've told it on the show before, but to you, I want to just relate this story to you. I was asked to join a band called Vibrator. and it was like an industrial metal band. I was just kind of playing bass just to step in for a couple of gigs, and I was like, okay, cool. And I was really enjoying it because I hadn't played for a while. I was able to put on cool rocker clothes and, you know, jump around on stage and play music, and I loved that part of it. But as I was rehearsing and getting closer to the gig, I realized that one of the songs that we were performing was actually called Hatred. And it was just like part of the lyrics were just like hatred, hatred. And I literally all of a sudden was like, I don't know if I can play this music anymore. Like, it's so not what I want to represent. You know what I mean? Like, how can I play this music? And it caused me a problem. I ended up, you know, I had committed, so I didn't want to, you know, back out of my commitment.
Right.
But I felt better going into it knowing, okay, I'm just playing music. This has nothing to do with me. You know, it's like almost like I could say a mantra beforehand and to protect myself
Right,
from
right.
the energy that I protect myself from what I'm about to do, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was just a cool story that you made me think of when you said, you know,
It's
the words
exactly.
and stuff. You know, it's really important, you know, to think about what that vibration represents
And the intention behind it. It's like if they were saying like hatred, like I felt hatred, and then I realized that I need to
right.
change the way
But the intention, yeah, the intention behind this was hatred. It was
right.
a
And a
guy
lot
that
of
had
it is.
a guy that had been in a band that was really popular, industrial metal band, and then they broke up, and this other guy was still doing it, and it was like this other guy trying to like get back at him. You know what I mean? And it
And
was
it's just
I
like,
just can't be part of this. You know, it was like,
no.
you know, so I did my time and got out. It was cool. I got some good photos. It was a good photo op.
And you know what? I think that I just want to say this really fast. I feel
Yeah.
like you deciding to continue to do it was just a good representation of you having balance in your life. Because it's like, I signed up to do this thing, and I trust myself. I know that I'm strong. I know I'm powerful, and I know that this is not going to affect me. And I'm going to make sure that I choose to be protected, and I'm going to just see this thing out and then like move on. I just feel like, yeah, that was, in my opinion, just a really cool choice.
Well, that's why I had to tell you the story so I could get that validation. That was
good job.
That was the whole reason that happened.
Good job playing to hatred.
The other thing I want to do real quickly before we say goodbye is play this quick clip, and this is also a shout out to the Spiritual Billionaires, but also a shout out to what we were just talking about where you put yourself, the people you surround yourself, the intention, the energy, all of that stuff. So this is a moment from the last Spiritual Billionaires in California. Enjoy. Yeah. I love that song, I Choose Me. That's such a great one. So that is a moment. I hope you guys felt that from the Spiritual Billionaires, where Samantha got to share her music with everybody, and you can see everybody in the room was just clapping along.
Oh my God. The love that poured from them.
Yeah. That's what's so great about being in a high vibrational group like that. You know, it's because you can only raise up to that level, you know what I mean? You can only just kind of match that vibration. I think that's really Karen's intention, you know, behind
and it's authentic. Speaking of authentic,
it's so authentic.
They're in your face like, you are an incredible to everybody. It's just like, and they mean it. They're like, wow, like you are a unique piece of God or universe or whatever, and you're amazing. And it's real.
Yeah. So you'll relate to this. Imagine, so my first Spiritual Billionaires, I did it, and part of what I was doing with Karen was she had wanted to hire a photographer to sit with everybody and take a portrait. She wanted everybody to feel empowered and to be comfortable sitting for a portrait, and you know, and get their picture taken and be comfortable with who they are. And I was just having a conversation with Karen before I even knew about the Spiritual Billionaires, and talking about how I've been told by people, wow, like you captured me in this way. I never even saw myself that way. And she's like, I've been wanting to have a photographer come down. So the great thing about that whole experience was that I got to do a Spiritual Billionaires weekend, and imagine this, because you know what that is like, where I got to actually walk away from the group for about 20 minutes with each person individually.
Wow.
And do a portrait of them. And the experience just blew my mind, because like you said, everybody is so high vibe that it was amazing. And another quick little story is, one of the women told me that one of her spirit guides was Pablo Picasso, and that she asked him the night before what she was nervous,
Right.
what do I do? And she said, Michael will know what to do. Tell him that he should take the picture unconventionally, like she described it, like through glass. So like almost like she's inside and I'm outside and I'm taking the pictures through the window, or vice versa, right? It just so happened that like a couple of weeks before, somebody had given me this lens ball, which is like one of those crystal ball kind of things that you use for photography. And I was like, well, he must mean this. and I did a portrait of her with the lens ball. I was blown away. I was just like, what's happening? I don't know what's happening, but
creativity. Oh my God.
I'm going with it. And it was just really, really awesome.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And that must have been just a beautiful experience to see everyone in their vulnerability.
It really was. It really was. Your dad included. That was a great moment. He had brought his little box with him. He has this little box. Anyway, unfortunately, we have run out of time. You promised me you'd come back a third time.
Oh, I can't wait. And then when you ask me what's consciousness, I'll forget again.
We'll get
what I said last time.
A whole new answer. We'll be walking in a whole new stream. Before we go, do you have any words of wisdom, any words of love, any words of anything that you want to share with my audience?
Be yourself, because nobody can be you but you. And if you're not yourself, and if you don't stand in your power and do whatever it is that you're intuitively drawn to do, you might be taking away from the experience of somebody else. Wow. So if you're meant to write a poem that you send to someone and it makes them decide that they want to feel better in their life, I really hope that you decide to write that poem.
Love it. I love it. That was beautiful. That was original. First time I've gotten something like that. So thank you for sharing that. Hope for everybody. I love it. I'm going to put you backstage for a second. Don't go away. I'm just going to say goodbye to my audience, and I will see you in a moment. Talk to you later. Deep breath in through the nose. That was so awesome. I love it. I love that my intention brought me here, and that I just shared an amazing hour with an amazing person, and that you guys were here to be with me and share it as well. You're amazing, Samantha Leah. Thank you, Michael Sin. Thank you, Venus, for being here. I really appreciate it. Venus came over from another show that I was actually watching, and I love it. The live stream family is growing always. So thank you guys for being here. Anyone who's watching the replay, thank you for being here. I didn't get to ring my bell. She never came back and told me she was subscribed, but maybe she'll come back next time and tell me, and I will ring my bell. I will see you guys next week. I have actually Leslie Slavin coming in. She is a conceptual artist who I actually went to art school with, Hartford Art School, circa, I'm not going to say, but I went to art school with Leslie, and we reconnected on Facebook, and she's doing some really interesting things. So I'm looking forward to having her here next week. Venus said she shared and tagged a few people. Thank you so much, Venus, for supporting the live stream of consciousness. All right, folks, I'll see you next week. Peace.